Are you mad?
No.
Oh, so you're mad and a liar.
Let's go!
It starts with an A and ends with anxiety. Off the charts levels of passion. That's just a nightmare. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. The disgraceful group of men who dare to call themselves the Maple Leafs lose 6-3 to the Vegas Golden Knights in Mitch Marner's return game. And I'm going to do my best here. No cuts, no jump cuts, no clapping for Drew, no edits. So that you can have fun with it. You can have fun with it if you want. I'm just going to filibuster, okay? There's no point even talking about the individual points of the game because we've actually watched this game like, what was that, game 51 of the season? We've watched that game like 35 times. Minimum, we've watched that game 35 times this year. So let's talk about it. It's Marner's return game. Everyone boos him. They were pretty respectful for the video tribute, which was short. They didn't know if people were going to boo the video tribute or not. I kind of respect the decision to keep it short. And also, I don't know, man. Not every place is Montreal. Sometimes you got stuff to do and a game to play. Anyway, we all had this game circled on our calendar. And let's not pretend this is a Leafs thing. Vegas Golden Knights, Mark Stone said it after the game. They wanted to win this for Mitch. He's their guy. They wanted to show up for their guy. Captain. Yeah. So that's the Leafs. Should have had it on their calendar. Leafs fans certainly had it on their calendar. I was messaged by someone mid-game who flew from Newfoundland, paid over $500 for one ticket to this game. This is the hottest, most expensive regular season ticket for any sporting event in the country in 2026. Yeah, the Jays went to the World Series. I'm sure another team will make the playoffs, and maybe those tickets will be more expensive. Regular season, no game will come close to as hot as this one. This team has been awful. They've been terrible to watch. They've been out of the playoffs for the vast majority of the season. But if you were going to see one godforsaken game this year, it was this one. Hockey fans around the world. How many of you watching this right now don't cheer for the Leafs or Golden Knights? Exactly. Hockey fans around the world knew this was a big game. And the Leafs looked awful. Opening bell to knockout blow. 2-0 bing bong right away. Right away. Getting shelled in your own barn. Tavares makes it 2-1. Nice and early. You start to believe. Bing bang. Vegas goes up 4-1 and Keegan Kolesar is on the bench like this. You are dinner for the rest of the league in these big games. Oh, I'll get there, don't worry. Scott Laughton, the only guy with blood in his veins, with a heart in his chest, scores a beauty. And he's got the eye of the tiger on the bench, and you're like, what if? Bobby McMahon scores. It's a beautiful tip. It's 4-3, and you think maybe. And the Leafs are cruising. They're looking so good. And an errant pass. It's Mark Stone. I sure hope you got those hands in the Olympics, buddy. It's 5-3. They score an empty netter. And the moral victory of it all is at least it wasn't Marner. Vegas got up for that game. You didn't. Let's do history. With Marner, we've gone through it. We've gone through the history, and anyone who doesn't know it by now is either a casual or just doesn't want to hear it. Both of those things are fine. You have free will. You don't need to be chronically online and know every aspect of everything when it comes to a hockey team. There's more important things going on in the world, and if you just don't want to hear it, I don't know, sometimes I don't want to hear it either. I understand. I totally get it. His no-move clause. When Kyle Dubas signed his contract in September, October, that area of 2019, that 6-year contract, the no-move clause kicked in summer, July 1st, 2023. And they knew that from fall 2019 through winter of 2020 through spring of 2020 through summer of 20. You get where I'm going with this? They knew for a very long time Mitch's no move clause was going to click in. Kyle Dubas designed it that way. It's kind of the most important thing going on with your team. Financially, with the cap. That was the time. That was the time. You won a round against Tampa. You look pretty good. You get smacked by Florida. You know it was a flash in the pan. We need to blow things up. And you have two options. Mitch Marner, who you can trade. Dubas gets fired. The architect of the deal gets fired. Brad Treliving comes on board, and he's already handcuffed before he even gets the job because Brendan Shanahan called up each member of the core four to be like, don't worry, boys, you're staying. I'm not sure why he hired a GM. He already was the GM. Why are you going to hire a guy if you're the one making all the calls there, Shanny? He has another job, by the way. That's pretty sick. So now you're trading Nylander. You have to. You have to. He's the only one left who's not extended. He has no trade protection. Now you have to trade Nylander. Well, he gets off to a hot start. Oh, great. His trade value is sky high. They lock him up. 8 years, infinity billion million dollars. So Shanahan and the Leafs, and Treliving wears some of this too, he's still here, put themselves on a collision course to what happened this summer with losing Mitch for Nick Waugh, who was a miracle they even got that much. Mitch had the full no move, and at least a couple times the Leafs said, Mitchell, can we trade you? And he said no. And the times where he didn't say no, the deal fell apart. They put themselves in that position. That's how we got here. That, and it doesn't help that Mitch was like looking at houses and asking friends, like, he was foot out the door for a long time. And if you have a problem with that, you have a problem with the truth. Like, I really don't. Wasting energy on this fight is, it's wasting energy. Here's the other thing I'm a historian with. Let's take the attention off of Mitch for a second here. By the way, if you're wondering what that sound was, and you're wondering why I have like such a jumpy energy, this is what I sit on. It's not a chair. And if it was a fart, I mean, I don't know. Wouldn't even be the stinkiest thing about this game. Chris Johnston, CJ. For my money, best there is. Right? Insider, TSN, Athletic, STPN does a podcast with us, The Chris Johnston Show. Before we came up with STPN, before he had his own show on our network, CJ came right from the Leafs' end-of-season press conference at Scotiabank Arena in 2019 after losing to the Boston Bruins. I have to specify which loss to the Boston Bruins that was. Love that very much. He comes straight from the arena, comes to the studio. At that time, we recorded at the Virgin Radio studio in Toronto. I'm painting a picture. And I say to him, I'm like, the Leafs have to consider firing Mike Babcock. They got to fire Mike Babcock, right? Keep in mind, they lost Game 7 5-1. Sound familiar? That one wasn't even as bad as the last one. That's crazy. They got caved on home ice in Game 6. They had 2 chances to finish off Boston that time. Again. Game 6, they look terrible. They lose. You have another opportunity to win in Game 7. Oh, you look exponentially worse. You got to fire Mike Babcock. CJ came in, and the part that made me lose my mind the most was that the insight of the Leafs management deciding, you know what? We're not going to fire Mike Babcock, and here's why. The Leafs won Game 5 in Boston, and it was a tight game. So they made a decision based off one game. Because making a decision based off the next 2 games, well, that would be ridiculous. And early that season, Dubas was seen on camera screaming to Shanahan. This was during a game early in the season. Leafs and Blue Jackets went to overtime, and Dubas is saying something along the lines of, he has to know they figured out, and very shortly after, the Blue Jackets did figure out. I think it was a flub from Marner, actually, now that I remember it. It's like photographic. And the Blue Jackets won. My guess, pure guess, is if Dubas had his way, he would have fired Mike Babcock right then and there in 2019. He was not allowed. You see in the theme? You see in the theme? You see in the theme? He has a job. He has a job. Screwed a generation of players in the 04-05 lockout in the CBA. He has a job. He has a job. It's crazy. All that to say, if the Leafs organization is willing to make a decision based on 1 game, I wouldn't mind them doing that right now. That's it. I don't even have the heart to yell, that's it. I'm Bruce Banner, and Hulk's not home. You've seen, like, I don't know, maybe I turned green a couple times. There were flashes like Goku fighting Frieza, and he's blinking blonde hair, and he's glowing, but in the cartoon, his hair stays blonde. He stays mad. And for me, I've hitched my wagon to this stupid, godforsaken team. I don't know how any of you stay. Bless you if you do. People talk bad about Leaf fans all the time, and they're killing us today. They're killing you. You're the most loyal fans in all of sport. All of sport. How are any of us still there? Someone asked me in the chat, what's more embarrassing, this loss in the Marner return game or the David Ayres Zamboni driver game? And I just had to pause the laugh because I'm like, both of those games happened to the Leafs. If I'm not mistaken, they lost both of them 6-3. Ah! If you're going to make a decision based on 1 game, make it on this one. Make it on this one. You got 5 shots in the 3rd period. Of a 3rd period you were losing the entire time. When Vegas put the dagger in the Leafs, the shots were something like 31-19. Aren't you ashamed? You don't have pride? Now, a lot is going to be made about the decision to start Anthony Stolarz in this game. I was shocked when I found out about it earlier in the day, and my thought was, you know what, screw it. What are you going to start him in the next game against the Avalanche? If he's ready, he's ready. Realistically, there was no fire. You could have simply given him a conditioning start with the Marlies, had Hildeby play or Wool play, doesn't matter, and then against the Avalanche, have Hildeby play or Wool play, doesn't matter. And then you call up Stolarz. He wasn't very good. Do not let the boys off the hook. Do not let the boys off the hook. They were the Leafs in a nutshell. They made it interesting and exciting when it was already too late. Three out of the 4 Bruins series that the Leafs have played, the Bruins have gone up 3-1, the Leafs have 4-7, and they lost. Like, 2 of them in overtime! Or was it 3? No, it was 2. It was 2. No, they got killed in 2018. 3 of them leading in the 3rd period. Sell. I don't care who you sell. I don't. Suppose to keep Matthews. What are the odds you're going to win that trade, right? Anyone else? Even? Yeah. What are we preserving here? All the fond memories? Oh, there he is. There's Hulk. If there's ever going to be a measuring stick game, if there's ever going to be a game where you're like, does this team have it? Can this team change gears when it matters most? I mean, this is it. Vegas showed up, second half of a back-to-back, by the way, and beat you. Now, what's funny is Vegas went down 4-0 to the Boston Bruins yesterday, who have your first-round pick, by the way. Awful, awful hockey team. Just so bad. Holy God. How do they have fans? How do the Toronto Maple Leafs have fans? The Bruins go up 4-0. Vegas could have pulled the shoot. We're going to save it for tomorrow in Toronto. It's going to be a big one. Going to be a big one! Vegas scored 3 to make it interesting. They did end up losing. But that means they floored it in the third period. They hit the gas. They lose anyway. They're not feeling good about it. They get on a plane. They fly from Boston to Toronto. They get to Toronto at God knows what time. They check into a hotel. They have a terrible sleep. Marner does a media availability anyway. He could not have possibly slept 8 hours. Probably not even 7. I'm sure he had a nap in the middle of the day. Hockey players love their naps. The Leafs are at home! You have every advantage you could possibly want in this game! You could have been the Islanders. John Tavares' return game on Long Island, if I'm not mistaken, Leafs, second half of a back-to-back. They travel to Long Island. They start a goalie they shouldn't have. It was Garrett Sparks that time. He wasn't coming off an injury. He's just bad. And the Islanders pump you 6-1. And you could tell yourself it's a schedule loss, whatever. You got pumped. And the Islanders were never going to lose that game. Ever. Not in 100 million years. All that stuff about Marner choking in big games is legitimate. And you're going to hear some of that today about, the Leafs. What if it's possible Marner and the Leafs just don't have that? Whatever that is. We're not doing this again. Oh, Marner, look at his playoff points. Games 5, 6, and 7, oh my God! Oh, I maybe shouldn't have done that. Yeah, his career points are fine. There we go. In the playoffs, they're fine. Game 5, 6, and 7, he's bad. He's bad. Objectively bad. Is the rest of the team much better? Well, there lies the rub, doesn't it? You know? And here's the thing. Marner didn't even have a very good game. He had opportunities, and he flubbed them. There was a little bit of the Marner we all know and love in that game. But the difference is the Vegas Golden Knights around him were going to pick him up no matter how good or bad he played. And they were never going to let the Leafs win this game. The Leafs have a massive culture problem. When it comes to the media, when it comes to the fans, and you're going to think that I'm going to blame this on the media and I'm going to blame this on the fans. I've said this before, and now that more of you are watching, I'm going to say it again. The call is coming from inside the house. The Leafs are terrified of you. They're terrified of the media. They are terrified of human beings in general, ignoring the fact that their most humiliating playoff loss was in front of an empty building. 2021. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't totally empty. There were a few nurses and doctors there. Maybe they're the reason they lost, right? Where was that newspaper article? Nurses and doctors are the reason the Leafs lost. The Leafs are terrified of fans blowing things out of proportion. The Leafs are terrified of the media blowing things out of proportion. So they throw on this cloak of fake zen. This is just another game. This is just another whatever. And they play like it. Vegas won tonight. Vegas kicked your ass tonight. Because they treated this game as what it is. Important! It matters more than the game before it and after it. They're all 2 points in the standings, but saying anything else is a lie. You don't gotta tell us. It's a lie to yourself. I don't care what you tell me. I don't care what you tell any reporter. The terribly intimidating Mark Masters. Why are you lying to yourself? Just another game? Oh, get a plumbing license. Become a welder. Do something. No one's forcing you to do this. What's your NHL career? Golden handcuffs? Get a heart in your chest. Get blood in your veins. That wasn't just another game. And if there's any justice, Leaf fans will have left you in droves tonight. Like, I feel like that weightlifter that, you know, you're supposed to get it over your head, and I got it here. And I'm bouncing it. I'm psyching myself up, and I don't have the level of anger that I think you're expecting. Like, the cold hard facts of it are, they suck. They are not good enough. In typical Leafs fashion, they really did make us believe for a few weeks. They beat the best team in the league before almost immediately shutting it off. Almost immediately. I don't care who you trade. And I'm not entirely sure Brad Treliving should be the one to do it. I am tired of reading that the Leafs are in on something. And then it doesn't happen. Their decor has been garbage all season. They claim Stetcher off waivers. That's it. What are we preserving here? Marner and Vegas are going to win the cup. Marner and his camp will be happy for a few weeks. Then they'll move on to the next thing that they've decided makes them miserable. But for Leafs fans, I mean, listen, I'll be with them forever. I don't know how you can blame anyone for never coming back. What a disgrace. Honor, pride, courage. Each and every guy in that locker room ought to rip the collar off their jersey. How dare you? That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Can't wait to see how the Leafs disappoint us next, because it's coming. It's the most reliable train. It's always on time.